Okay, day 22 of StoryADay, May 2024, day 22. I did not realize it had been so long since I'd done one of these daily-ish updates on my progress, but it's been a little while. Not because I haven't been writing, but because I've been busy with so many things, supporting the community, doing a little travel. It's beautiful weather here, and all of a sudden I needed to make a vegetable garden, apparently, which has been suffering over the past few years because of StoryADay May. But I have a truth bomb for you today. I didn't write yesterday. Now, every year I make this perfectly clear up front. You make your own rules for StoryADay. You do whatever it takes to make you want to write more. And if that means keeping a perfect streak during StoryADay May, then keep a perfect streak during StoryADay May, even if you have to stay up late, even if you have to write something terrible and something short. But I didn't yesterday. And I will say that the day before, what I wrote was not a story, because I was A, traveling, B, I woke up with a migraine. I woke up with a migraine on Monday, and then Tuesday I just was kind of recovering. So this week has not been great for actually writing stories. And yesterday, which was Tuesday, I just didn't write. I just needed a recovery day that was not, I just needed to be kind to myself. So most days, every other day of the month, I have written something. And whether or not you call it a story is probably debatable, but the exercise of writing something and holding myself to that standard has been fantastic. And if you go and look at the comments on storyaday.org, you'll see that everyone's having the same experience. We're pushing ourselves to have that integrity with our own promises. We've promised to be writers. We think we're writers, and just showing up regardless of what you write is powerful. Some days I've worked on the warm-up and the brainstorming, and some days I haven't. Some days, a couple of days, my brainstorming turned into something, and I went, oh, I'm calling that my story for the day. Sometimes I've written things which I've thought, oh, I'll come back to that in June. Sometimes I've written things which have made me go, whoa, okay, those are words. And today, coming back to it after a day when I just didn't write anything, I wasn't sure what was going to happen. So I turned up at the writing sprint, the writing date that I put together for the StoryADay handbook owners. And you'll find a link to that in the description after I'm finished here, because I didn't put it in before. But anyway, I turned up at this writing sprint where we sit and write together. And I started to write, and I was in my head. I was thinking about, is it going to work? Oh dear, I missed a day. Should I admit that to anybody? Should I just write 2 today and pretend? And no, I just sat down and I wrote. And today's prompt is to rewrite a story you'd already written during the month. And it was the perfect one to come back to on a day when I was feeling shaky about having missed a day, about having given myself that permission to not make myself miserable yesterday, but actually take the day and go, you know what, my challenge isn't going to be perfect. And I'm sharing that with you because if you're just finding the challenge now, or if you started and fell off the wagon, don't worry about it. Because when I came back to my writing today, just rewriting that story from a different perspective, I knew what was going to happen. I ended up not writing all of the stuff that I wrote from the other perspective. I was just writing, and I was so happy because I was giving words to my characters. I was thinking about how they would see the world, which is not how I see the world necessarily, but it has some threads. And I was just doing all the things that you do as a writer. You get out of your own head and into your heart and into your feelings. And it was, and for all of us who want to write, part of it is to do, especially if you're writing fiction, it has to do with a love of language. And just giving myself that hour to write something and just sitting and watching the words come out of the ends of my fingers and onto the screen, because I was writing. I don't always type when I'm composing, but I was typing today. It was just such a lovely experience. And I just really encourage you to give yourself permission to have that experience. We had a lovely discussion as well in the writing date about what to do with writing once it's done. We don't often have deep discussions in these writing dates, but sometimes topics come up. So we chatted a bit about that, and there's two sides to that too. Sometimes you're thinking about where the story is going to go, and at other times you just have to watch how writing makes you feel. And I was so happy today that when I sat down to write, because I've been writing so much this month, I was able to let go of the demons that say, oh, you're not really a writer, you're not really doing everything right. I was able to let go of all of that and laugh at the imperfection and laugh at the fact that, here I am, this person who's making a big deal about the fact that, it's the 15th annual StoryADay May, and I've been doing all this stuff for so many years, and I've got all these tricks and tips, and I'm going to teach you how to do it. And then I just blew it. So I hope you find that encouraging. I don't think that perfection is what we're going for. And I'm just so happy to see so many people get excited about their writing again, put it first, just for a few days here in May. And I hope that if you haven't joined us yet, you'll come over to storyaday.org and join us. You can write for the rest of the month. You can dig around and look at more writing prompts. You can sign up for Story a Week, where I'll send you a prompt every week for the rest of the year. You can, there's so many options. You can get the handbook and you can go through all of this stuff later in the year. You can dip into it whenever you need it. Lots to do over at StoryADay, but most of all, everything I'm doing is to help you on your journey as a writer, whether you're already writing a lot and looking for the next step, or whether you are aware of the gap between your perception of yourself as a writer and the actual doing of the writing. We've all struggled with that. So don't think it's easy for anyone. It's not. Case in point. But I feel good about giving myself the day off yesterday, because I came back reinvigorated. So make some rules. And if your rules include, if I really need a day off, I get to take a day off, but I don't get to take 2 days off, then stick to that rule and do whatever it takes to make it happen. For me, I didn't want to come up here and run a writing date this evening. I wanted to sit downstairs and watch the baseball and have some dinner. And I thought, you know what? No, because I've made this commitment. And I'm so glad I did, because look at me now. Anyway, I hope you're writing, because this can be your face too. Not this, but like the smile. So I hope that helps. Make commitments to your writing, stick to them, but also be kind to yourself. All right, that's what I have for you today. And I'll try and not leave it so long between updates next time. We're in the home stretch now. There's only, 9 days left in the month. So I'll be back with updates, but also with news about what's coming next for writers who don't necessarily want to be writing a story a day for the rest of their life, but also don't want to lose this momentum, or are having FOMO over the momentum that other people are experiencing. We have stuff for you too. So stay tuned. And most of all, keep writing.